Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rihanna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences growing up Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day there are debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on a pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today we will be reading Asian horror stories.
Ooh, spooky.
Mm.
Well, in case you haven't noticed, we are in spooky season. It's Halloween time.
Yay! My
Uh,
favorite.
Is that your favorite holiday?
Yes.
Valid. What's your favorite holiday? Let us know. Does anyone have any Halloween plans? What are we doing? What are we dressing up as?
What are you doing, Tiffany? Do you have any plans?
I am going to be a fairy this year.
Cute. I love that.
Yeah. I My Princess Serenity costume will just have to come a different year. I still haven't. The issue is that I need the right setting
Mm.
because I don't know. It's just like certain settings are not fit for certain costumes.
Hmm.
Like if you were to, I don't know, let's say that your costume had a ball gown. Well, you can't exactly wear that at. I'm trying to think of a location. I don't know, at a restaurant. Like a
Hmm.
ball gown's pretty big.
Yeah.
Because I remember in elementary school, there was a girl that she really wanted to dress up as this specific thing. It was a Western thing. I don't remember what it was, but she didn't do it because the dress was too big and it would be inconvenient to wear to school. And that was in elementary school.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm going as a fairy.
Nice.
Gonna be a bit of a green kind of vibe. I got wings for the occasion.
I like the vision.
hmm I have I already own a flower crown and this like flower bracelet thing that I never really have a place to wear. I got
Mhm.
it. I think I got that stuff when I was like 9 years old. It's the prettiest flower crown and flower bracelet thingy that I got from in China, and I just
Mm.
had nowhere to wear it
But now
because
you
where are you
can.
gonna? Yeah, exactly. And so that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be
Yay.
a green fairy.
That's very cute. I love it.
Are you gonna dress up as anything?
I actually don't know what I'll dress up as. I'll probably wear, I have a Gloomy Bear onesie.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I remember that one.
yeah, I'll probably wear that. And I'm going trick-or-treating with my little cousins, so that'll be fun.
Woo!
Yeah, something to look
Cute.
forward to.
Yeah, for sure. And please tell us your Halloween plans down
Yeah.
below.
Haunted houses, pumpkin patch.
I've never been to a haunted house.
Me neither.
Someone
I
actually
never plan on.
recommended someone recommended one to me and it sounded really cool, but I don't know, just the concept of me going inside of a house or going inside like a haunted kind of activity place, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Really freaks me out. But
Oh
I guess
yeah.
I guess in a way it could also be cathartic or like therapeutic in the sense
Yeah.
that you're like letting out all your. So I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe
Hmm.
one day.
Yeah, I definitely cannot. Um, as much as I love Halloween, I cannot do jump scares at all. I
hmm
would much
Oh
rather
yeah.
go to like an actual haunted house that is like allegedly haunted by ghosts rather than like a like a haunted maze or something where people dress up and jump out at you. Like I'm very much like I will go ghost hunting, but I won't go to a haunted house, which I know is kind of weird. And all my friends are like, what is wrong with you? But
I don't think there's anything wrong with you.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, specifically. But apparently, some people have some things to say about that. But alas,
Hater.
yeah, for real. That's okay.
Okay. Maybe that can be our next Halloween theme, our Halloween special.
Oh my God, imagine us going to a haunted house is just like a GoPro.
Well, I mean, we already did the face reveal, so
Okay,
we're in our vlogging era.
I'm not promising anything because I genuinely cannot.
Well, I'm not promising anything either because I'm not exactly a ghost friendly, horror
Yeah.
friendly person. I'm just the thing with Rihanna, and I don't know if we've talked about this before. We might have when we were doing the video game, but
Oh my God, yeah.
that did we tell them about that time we watched that horror movie?
Yes, we did talk about it.
Right. Okay. And because the thing is, when I watch horror and I get scared, I'm quiet.
I
Like
scream.
I freeze. I mean, in real life, if I got scared, I probably wouldn't freeze. I think it depends on the scenario. If I got jump scared in real life, I would scream.
Mm,
But if I was scared, just period, in real life, I might be silent.
mm,
Like the eyes widened kind of person.
mm.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can, if possible, if we have the capacity, the mental capacity to do so,
Hmm.
we we can be like BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Oh my God. I would love to be BuzzFeed Unsolved because that's just ghost hunting. I can do that. I am so
Hmm.
down for that.
Yeah.
Let us know if y'all want to see that because it will happen.
Hmm. That'd be fun.
Hmm.
We did say to suggest vlog or video ideas as
Hmm.
we ease ourselves into doing some.
Yeah.
It's a little tough because of scheduling,
Uh-huh.
and then like we said, we are open to making videos so far it supplements the content, but we don't necessarily want to be because our podcast was never meant to be like, oh, this is us.
Hmm.
We do talk about our experiences, but the heart of the podcast is about what it's about. It's
Hmm.
about like the things we talk about, not necessarily.
It's not about us, the people. It's about us,
Yeah.
our experiences,
Uh-huh.
our
We're
identities.
not. Yeah. And I mean, that's not to say that there's something wrong with people who make podcasts all
Of
about
course not.
themselves. Of course not. We consume that content too. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But that's just not what we're doing right now.
Hmm.
Maybe it could be something we do in the future, but right now it's more like if it helps the video, we'll no, if it helps the episode, we'll make a video portion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so like we said in the beginning, we're going to be reading some of our favorite or just some horror stories that we know with Asian origins. Um, my first story is going to be about the white lady of the Philippines. But just to note, the white lady has many different versions and backgrounds and stories across Asia and like across the entire world. One that most people might be familiar with is La Llorona. That is the like Spanish version, or is it Mexican? I'm not sure. Um, but that had like its own feature film about it. This is the Filipino version of that. Basically, the white lady, as you might have guessed, is a like ghost, kind of like banshee type figure. It's a lady in a white dress. She typically has long black hair covering her face. And depending on the story, she shows up in different places. Typically, she is connected to like, or typically her story is connected to like a lover or like children that she's lost type thing. But I'm going to tell the Filipino version of this. The one that I am most familiar with is the White Lady of Balete Drive in Quezon City in the Philippines. Now, this is one that my mom has talked to me about, and like I've heard family friends and family talk about this. So, oh, and by the way, a lot of these stories we're going to be reading like straight off of a website, and all of these sites are going to be linked in the description. So as I said, this is about the White Lady on Belete Drive in Quezon City. The street is an old carriageway utilized during the late Spanish era towards the end of the 19th century. It's now an undivided two-lane avenue part of New Manila, and that area used to be poorly lit at night, and it's named after several balete trees, so it's a type of tree, that previously lined the roadside. And along that road is where like pretty well-off families would live, like with nice houses. So this tree, balete, is a tree that's deeply rooted in Philippine, like, what's the word? Folklore and stuff like that. It's believed to be inhabited by like mystical beings and like scary monsters because it has a really big trunk and like twisting branches, lots of roots, stuff like that. And a little historical past or like historical background on that. It goes back to like Philippine ancient Hindu past where banyan trees were considered sacred and heavenly because they were capable of emitting large amounts of spiritual energy. Think like massive big trees, even like scary twisty looking trees. So many people believed in this specific urban legend, which is why it's so big. And one person who believes this is a captain of the QCPD, and he was suspended for cowardice because he was refusing to patrol this street. And the reason why they needed people to patrol the street was that lots of accidents happened there, and lots of these accidents were attributed to this white lady or a woman in white, claiming that she crosses the street out of nowhere and then she just vanishes when you like turn back to see where she is. So the most usual backstory of the white lady is that she is a ghost of a long-haired woman who, according to legend, died in a car accident while driving along Balete Drive years ago. But other versions are that she was a victim of a hit and run and that the driver who caused her accidental death was never caught, which is why her like unrestful spirit still haunts the area. Other variations also state that she was a resident of the area and she was allegedly abused and got mistreated by her own family or husband, depending on who tells you the story. Her untimely death happened after she got run over by a passing vehicle when she tried to run away. Or she was discovered by people who were trying to capture her, dragged back home, and she was killed from trying to escape. Now
Even in horror stories, women be getting done dirty.
No, for real. Like, and it's very sad because this is a very typical thing, like a typical background story to white ladies is that like either they were being abused or they got cheated on by their husband, so they went out to kill themselves, like type thing, you know.
Do people never? I feel like we don't talk about this enough.
We don't.
I feel like we don't reflect on this.
I'm sure there's studies that have been done on this, but it's very sad, honestly. Like I was thinking about this when we were getting information for the episode. It's very sad. Oh, and one like pretty common real life story or real life experience that people have are like actually like taxi drivers. So typically what will happen is the taxi driver states they see like a very like pretty young woman asking for a ride. They let them in, you know, ask where to go, ask the lady where she needs to go. She tells them whatever. They're driving along a place, and then when they check in the rear view mirror, they see that the woman's face has actually changed. to look like it's like blood stained, covered in bruises, red eyes, her hair is messy, pale skin, like literal horror movie. You pick up a beautiful young woman, you're driving her, you look back at her, and she's just turned into like a banshee pretty much,
Oh
which
my God.
is terrifying. There's also a backstory to that. Some people state that, or some versions state that she's the most hostile to taxi drivers because in one version of the legend, she was raped by a taxi driver. Another version states that she was raped by two Japanese soldiers during World War II. There's lots and lots and lots of versions of this story. And actually, to add a little from my own experience, when I was in the Philippines, and even when my friend, same thing with her, her mom made her do the same thing. In the Philippines, they believe that like if you have like a beauty mark near your eye, that means you can see ghosts. And I have one like right in between my eyes. And
I also
so
have,
one near your eye, right?
well, I have two near my eye and well, I have three near my eye and I have one on my eyeball.
Yeah.
I have
So
like a birthmark.
they believe that if you have one near your eye, you can see ghosts. So when I was in the Philippines, and even same thing with my friend, when we drove on like this specific street, but also different streets with like big trees like this, my parents or our parents would cover our eyes because they were worried that we would see something. So my friend, like she used to go to the Philippines quite often as a kid, and she
Mhm.
would come back and tell me how like certain streets, her mom would literally grab her face and like just hide her face so her daughter, like my friend, wouldn't look around on the street
Oh
and
my
like
God.
accidentally see something. Yeah. And my mom's like, when I went back to the Philippines, my mom said the same thing. She was like, Rihanna, cover your eyes. You don't know what you're gonna see. And that terrified me personally.
That's and
Yeah.
so they were doing that because you had
Yeah, we have like moles near our eyes. But also like if someone's like extra scared, they might just not even look themselves because they're scared of seeing something on the street. But especially us, and
that's
especially my
so
friend,
scary.
yeah, they would cover her eyes all the
Oh my
time whenever
God.
they
Keep
pass
me
by.
away from those places. I have way too many near my eye.
Yeah, it's scary. But yeah, that's the story of the white lady. Let me know if you guys have your own version of the white lady or like your own version of the lady with a white dress and long black hair because that's a very typical
Yeah, that's like one of the most.
image. Personally, that is like the scariest image for me. That's why Asian horror always gets me.
So, as for the Chinese side, I will have to admit to everyone, I'm not super exposed to like Chinese horror. So for this episode, I have like one or two things that I found through research that I'll share with y'all. But in general, I I don't know, growing up, I've never really been exposed to Chinese horror or Chinese ghost stories. I think my parents are very superstitious about that kind of thing. And then also in general, in Chinese culture, we we have a habit of being very taboo people, kind of. So
Hmm.
things that are not agreeable or things that are not like you're not really supposed to talk about. So for instance, you're not even really supposed to necessarily talk about death because talking about it brings bad energy. So like
Hmm.
talking about ghosts in a sense brings bad energy.
Hmm.
Or you know how in Western culture you say something it's like, oh, knock on wood.
Yeah,
It's kind of like that. We're not really supposed to talk about certain things.
I see.
Yeah. And so that's why I haven't really been told ghost stories. Yeah, I mean, I remember one time when I don't remember what age I was, but I my mom told me not to do something. I don't even really remember what it was. It was a very simple thing, but she told me not to do it. And she was like, "Oh, like, do you want to know why?" Or like, she was gonna tell me why, or she was gonna ask me if I wanted to know why. But then she changed her mind, and she was like, "No, I like let's not talk about it.
Um, mhm,
Let's not bring that energy or something like that." But yeah, I'm assuming it was kind of like a bad luck thing or a ghost related bad
mhm,
luck thing.
mhm.
Yeah. Anyways, here are the two things I got. Two, I guess, like prominent things that came up in research. So the first one, they're ghost cat, Maogwai or Maogwai, which on a surface level sounds kind of adorable. But cat ghosts are believed to be the ghosts of cats that were raised from the dead to take their target's lives and fortune
Oh,
through something called voodoo rituals, which is apparently similar to voodoo magic in a sense.
mm,
And so my interpretation is it's a little bit of a vengeance kind of thing.
mm,
Like cat ghost coming back for fortunes and the things they wish to get.
mhm,
And apparently these rituals were popular in the sixth and seventeenth nope, sixth and seventh centuries.
mm,
Well, what a jump. But anyways, these rituals or these acts were apparently really popular in the sixth and seventh century, and once targeted, their victims were said to feel as if they were pierced by needles. I guess kind of in the way that cats claw at people,
mm,
and they would like these ghosts would, in a sense, eat or consume their victims and their organs.
mm. Wow.
Which, like I said, surface level cat ghost sounds adorable. Not so adorable. Not so adorable. These are
Not
very
really.
vengeful, homicidal cats.
Mhm,
But yeah, it's I thought it was really interesting how the story not writes itself, but I found the story really interesting because it's like cats from the dead that just come and talk. These are kind of like rural or like folklorish legends.
mm,
And I just found it really interesting because I was like, oh, there are these cats that come and then they pick targets and they find their targets and then they eat them alive and then take their fortune and then on to the next. And here's the thing, the background to all this, like the reason why these cat ghosts exist or why this story came to be is because during the Sui era, which is 581 618 CE, many cats were sacrificed.
mm,
And so it's believed that these cat ghosts, are seeking vengeance for that period of sacrifice. Because I mean, I think we can all say that those cats probably didn't deserve to just, because, they probably just take cats and then
yeah,
sacrifice them, right? And
yeah.
so these cats, in a sense, came back to life, or not came back to life, but rose from the dead to take revenge for not their people. Well, cats aren't people, so I guess for their kind. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting story.
I like that.
The reason why it stood out, well, the thing is, when I was looking up Chinese ghost stories, this was one of the ones that came up as a popular one because it's a popular folklorish one. And then I saw it said ghost cats, and I was like, that sounds
Mm.
adorable. I wonder
Mhm.
what that is. And then it's obviously not adorable, but you can't. Can you blame me? Who doesn't love cats? I
Mhm.
mean, maybe not their victim, but yeah, that's my first story, ghost cat. And then my second story is called Wapi, Wape, and it translates to painted skin ghost.
That sounds scary.
Yeah. And so these ghosts are green and they have like big teeth, and allegedly they would come out at night and eat humans and then dress as their victim during
Oh,
the day.
oh my.
Usually appearing as very beautiful women, which I think is something that is relatively universal in a lot of ghost stories, right? I feel like women are a big subject in horror, especially like
Yeah.
beautiful women, like ethereal women.
Mhm.
And so, like I said, these ghosts would come out at night and eat humans and then dress as said humans that they had consumed. Well, the thing is, when I say dress, I mean I'm sure they did also dress in their clothes, but they wore their skin and then lived about during the day, and then at night they would go on and continue hunting. And they're believed to be, surprise, surprise, the spirit of women that were horribly wronged during their lives.
Mm.
And so the spirit of those women were supposedly trapped inside like their bones for hundreds of years after they died. And so this act of eating humans and then wearing their skin and dressing as them during the day is their way of like looking for a a shell or like a body to move
Mm.
around in and live in.
That's terrifying.
I agree. It's also upsetting to think about. Because I mean, yes,
Yeah.
it's a ghost story, but then what is it with all these women that have been wronged?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised,
Are
but
are we? Can we talk about that?
yeah.
The cat one is. I mean, I think maybe I'm just not a loyal subscriber of horror, so I have a bit of a harder time taking it seriously because I'm just thinking of like voodoo cats
Hmm.
that like go and whatever. No disrespect, no disrespect to cat ghosts, okay?
Hmm.
No disrespect, all respect. If y'all catch my drift,
Yes.
no disrespect. I love cats,
Me
I
too.
really do. I want a ragdoll cat.
Those are so cute.
They're beautiful. But anyways, like I was saying, these are my two ghost stories. I hope you enjoyed them. I found them quite
Mhm.
interesting.
I love like little bits of lore and like different like
Hmm.
entities almost. I
Hmm.
like it. Before we get into our own personal stories, I'm gonna read just a couple stories that I found on the internet. These are specifically written by people in the Philippines, um, and they are true from my understanding. Again, the link will be in the description if you want to read more of these. Okay. This one is called Chapel. It was
Oh,
posted this year.
I'm already a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. And it's under the category Haunted Places. Okay. So this is written by someone who was finishing up their senior year of high school in 2009. They were attending a dance party, you know, typical teenagers just having fun. And let me read. The route is described as follows. Since we don't have cars, we walk. The forest is where the shortcut is. The shortcut is. I don't know why I said it like that.
The shortcut.
Yeah. There is a tiny bridge with just one handle. The sound of the river, birds, and other things may all be heard. Before you get to the highway, there's a field of sugarcane, mango trees, and bamboo. Venue of the dance party. It was held in a high school field. Many folks stopped by just to get a glimpse of the festivity. Mika. I've heard a lot of stories about her, but this is the first time I've met her. She's tall, about 5'6" in height, and she looks bubbly and clever in her own way. That evening, before we went to the party, she greeted me. She's very vivid in my mind. After the party, we made the decision to head home at 1:25 a.m. Same direction and path, but this time it's going to be different. As I'm walking behind Mika, we are passing a small temporary shrine or a chapel. Someone is passing by the chapel. An old man with like traditional Filipino clothes, khaki trousers, and white hair. His face is decaying, and
Oh, Lord.
he walks slowly towards the pulpit, which is like a raised box or platform in a church where the priest usually stands, especially when they're like preaching or doing like carrying on the sermon. When the old man is about to turn in my direction, I suddenly run. I moved as quickly as I could. All of a sudden, all of my pals started running. Mika and all of my friends were behind me when I stopped. They were asking why I ran that fast. We were all catching our breath. Then Mika asked me, "You saw that, didn't you?" I said yes. I assumed I was the only one who noticed him. Mika says, "I saw him too. I also noticed that the gate of the chapel is secured with chains and locks. What did you see?"
I'm scared.
I know. I said, "I did, I swear. That's why I ran as well. He was about to turn in our direction. That scared the shit out of me, man." Mika asked if we could talk as they were laughing at me and telling me how funny I was. It looked like I was running for my life. This is my true to life horror story. Mika says sorry. Me. Why? What happened? Why are you apologizing? Mika. From now on, your third eye is opened.
Oh my God.
Me. So it's true? Mika. Yes. They said that if Mika sees things and she's with you, there's a strong chance that your third eye will be opened. That was a brief talk I had with Mika. We stopped talking about it after that. That's how I started to see and hear things that aren't usual to ordinary people. And that is the end.
Who's Mika?
Just some girl, I guess. Ugh, I really don't like that.
I
And I specifically chose that one because like seeing ghosts like that in like chapels or like little shrines is very common, which is very interesting to me. Because you would assume that like a quote unquote holy place like that wouldn't have unrestful spirits, but it's a very big thing in the Philippines. Okay, can I move on to my next story? This
people
one,
who
oh, this one is also
have
freaky.
felt victim to the church.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I think unrestful spirits does make sense.
That's true. That's very true.
Because I mean, think about like burning of witches, right? Wasn't that also?
Yeah. Okay. This one I chose this one, like the second one that I'm about to tell, because this also seems to be like a very, I feel like every family has this kind of story in the Philippines, at least. Like there's always something like this, of this nature. Okay. This is a posted on the same website, posted in 2022. The category is psychic/media.
You sound like a game show host.
Category is the scariest horror story you've ever heard. Okay.
Rihanna, what is?
Okay. My brother and I were the youngest in our clan. My cousins are much older than us, so usually we hang out with their children, our nephews and nieces. In our clan, I have two close nephews who share the same age bracket. We were always close, but as time flies, we began to drift apart and proceed with our education. We were in the same city, yet we don't hang out as much as we were when we were younger, as we did when we were younger. This was way back in 2018. I was a third year college student at a university. I was attending my last period, but before it started, my mom called and told me horrible news. One of my close nephews died due to suicide. He was depressed because of his hardships living with his pregnant girlfriend that time, and basically he had to quit school just to earn money for them. His last straw was when his girlfriend left him. My mom told me he hung himself using a belt tied to a bed leg. He was really decided to end his life since the height between the leg of the bed and the floor is not that high. He basically had to kneel in order to kill himself. He was brought to a hospital, but it was too late. The scary part happened during his wake. I was not present at the time since I can't afford to take an absence with my major subjects, but my mom and other family members that were there told the details of what happened on that fateful day. It started as a normal day for them. They greeted and mingled with visitors who came to pay respects to my dead nephew. There was a woman. My family and relatives really did not know her. She basically stood watching the coffin and cried. She was approached by one of the cousins. She told our cousin in Visaya, which is a dialect, it was him. She then told her story that while she was not really affiliated with any of us, like she didn't know any of them, she knew my nephew because she met him 2 days ago. They were all shocked and in disbelief because this was the 4th day of the wake. This means that if she really met my nephew...
I'm like looking around. I'm a little uncomfortable.
This means that if she really met my nephew, it was after he died. She told us that she was a medium who can see spirits. And while that was true, it was a huge burden for her since spirits knew that she had the ability to see the dead, and they pestered her for their last wishes and requests. She was approached by my nephew, who was also in denial at first that he was dead. He pestered the woman since he discovered that she was the only one who could see him. He even guided the woman to his grandfather's house where the wake was held. Oh, and by the way, in the Philippines, what typically happens is that the body is kept in like the house that they lived in for viewing. It's not like a funeral home or anything. Like that's a thing too, but typically it's the body is shown in the house because it's like the spirit is still within the house. That's what the belief is. So that's why like it's even weirder that this woman just showed up because she's at like their actual house. Anyways, continuing. My nephew instructed her 3 things to do. The first one was to ask for forgiveness from his mother on his behalf. The second one was to ask for forgiveness of his younger brother. And the last one was to hug his mother on his behalf. His mother really felt his hug one last time while hugging that woman. She then said that my nephew said he was sad but not sorry for what he did. After that, the woman stayed for a while, but then left. But before she left, my family heard her utter the words, "I already did what you requested. Please don't disturb me anymore." That was the only creepy incident that happened during his wake. My aunt and uncle still have creepy experiences in that house. Even my nephew's child, who is now almost 4 years old, cannot stay long in that house because she can see ghosts of an old woman and a boy. We bet that she was referring to the poster's grandmother and the nephew, or the father, the one who had killed himself. The end. Freaky. And also very sad, very tragic, but unfortunately that is something that is like pretty typical. But yeah, how are we feeling?
Well, I think I expressed how I was feeling earlier. I'm a little, I'm not the greatest with ghost stories.
Hmm. Me neither, but I love real ghost stories. I don't like jump scares. I don't like horror movies. I love real horror stories. I actually have my own that I will be telling. It's technically not my own. It's technically my mom's. But would you like to hear it? It's very short to end it
Sure. I mean, I have no reason to
off. Okay.
decline.
Okay. So basically, shoot, I have a couple, but I'll only tell like two. Okay. My mom, so okay, basically, my mom sleeps in the living room because the couch is better for her back when she has like certain like she's sore from work or something. Like she likes to sleep on the couch because we have a wooden couch. It's better for her back. Um and also in front of our couch, like our TV's in front of our couch, and then we have a statue of Mother Mary beside that my parents will like pray the rosary with, and they'll light a candle beside it, a typical like shrine almost in a way. And one night, my mom, I think we prayed the rosary, and then my dad went to bed. My mom like stayed on the couch and just, was sleeping. And also beside the shrine is like our TV box, or our TV box at the time, and it had a clock on it so she could see the time right when she opened her eyes. Also there's a little table in between the couch and the TV. So she woke up, and the first thing she looked at was the time, because she's like, why am I awake? Is it like her alarm didn't go off or anything? It was like exactly 3 a.m. And she noticed on like the left side of the TV, in between the TV and the table, there was a little girl with hair
Oh, you
covering
told
her
me
face.
this.
Yeah, hair covering her face, just standing there. And my mom said that like it almost looked like this little girl was like glowing, because she could just like, her eyes were drawn to her. And she watched this little girl slowly walk towards the shrine, turn to it, walk into the shrine, and disappear. And that was like 15, like I think like 15 minutes. She was like frozen in fear. She just saw this little girl slowly creep towards the shrine and disappear. And obviously my mom, like, I get my scaredness from my mother, and she was terrified. And she like closed her eyes as soon as the girl disappeared, did not dare opening them, like prayed in her head for like what she thought was an hour, and then ran to go wake up my dad. And afterwards, we found out that one of her old like batchmates or schoolmates had passed away. And even though like this was like a little girl spirit that she had seen, my mom like believes that it had to do with this passing, or yeah, that. Um yeah, and to be completely honest, when my mom told me that, I could not sleep. The next day, I was terrified because the shrine is like right in front of the wall. And on the other side of the wall where the shrine is my room.
Oh,
So if it's true that ghosts walk through walls, the ghost would have walked directly into my room. Luckily, I was asleep at the time. But I was terrified. I still am a little bit. That's really scary. But yeah. Tiffany, do you have any ghost stories, like personal stories that you would like to share?
I fortunately do not.
Nice. That is
I
a good thing,
have
honestly.
not and will not have any paranormal experience.
Period. Well, I can share another one on behalf of Tiffany.
Thank you.
Okay. Um,
I don't think I'd be able to sleep for the rest of my life.
okay. This one is also not technically not mine, it's my mom's. My mom, like, she's very, very like she believes in this stuff, obviously, because she's had these experiences. Um, so okay, this one, when she was younger, um, she used to live like with her parents and her grandparents. And one day, okay, wait. No. Her grandfather had passed away. And like like everything happened, whatever, funeral, all that. And I think it was like the Sunday after he had passed. Like I'm not sure what day he passed, but time had passed and then it was Sunday. And she so in the Philippines they use it like lots of people sleep in mosquito nets because there's lots of mosquitoes obviously. So she was sleeping in a mosquito net. She was sleeping normally with her grandmother, especially after her grandfather had passed. But I think what happened was when she woke up, her grandmother had already left. And it was Sunday. And my mom thought like this was weird because usually her grandmother would wake her up to go to church with her. But when she woke up, she was alone. And when she looked like beyond the mosquito net where she was sleeping, she saw her grandfather just staring at her.
Mm.
And obviously like that it spooked her a little because, but it's not like she knows like it's the spirit of her grandfather, so she just like went back to sleep, I think. And she told her aunt at like when that happened. She had told her aunt the story and she was like, "Please don't tell grandmother because I don't want her to get sad or scared or anything." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And years later, when her grandmother had passed away, my mom's aunt actually like told my mom, "Remember that thing you told me when you saw your granddad outside of the mosquito net and you told me not to tell your grandmother?" My mom's like, "Yeah." Her aunt said that her grandmother had told her the exact same story, that when the grandmother woke up to go to church, she saw the grandfather. And she didn't want to wake up my mom because she was scared that my mom would get scared. So she ended up going to church alone, like closed her eyes a little bit. He was gone, went to church alone, told my mom's aunt and said, "Don't tell her because I don't want her to be scared." So my poor like mom's aunt or my great aunt was just like terrified. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm getting notifications. But was just absolutely terrified because she can't tell either party, but she just got both stories confirming that
That's
my mom's
crazy.
grandfather was there. Yeah, and my mom didn't find out until after my grandmother had passed away. But yeah, I remember my mom told me that story when I was really young and it freaked me out. Because imagine like you think you just have an experience, but at that point you can still chalk it up to like, oh, I was half awake, whatever. But when both people see the exact same thing, like they saw my her grandfather in the exact same spot, That's freaky.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, those
Oh,
are the
I feel so
stories.
bad.
I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
How do you think I feel? No, I'm the type of person, growing up, I would get scared by chainmail ghost stories.
Me too.
I actually cried one time because I was so mad at my friend because I was mad at her for sending me this one. Because the thing is, she knew that I was scared of that kind of stuff, but she sent it to me anyway. And so it made me really upset because not only was I afraid, but it's like, I'm actually afraid. I'm not sleeping tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you send that to me? I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Because you, in a sense, just cursed me.
Yeah, I always hated chainmail because it's like this is a literal curse.
Yeah,
That's what this
that
is.
was really upsetting. I actually cried. I mean,
Uh,
I was a kid, but I actually cried.
yeah. I used to freak out when I would get chainmail like that.
That
But
was so
yeah,
mean. That was so unnecessary.
I hope you guys enjoyed our stories, whether it be personal or, Asian horror stories. I hope you're freaked out in a good way.
I don't think I'm freaked out in a good way. Well, happy Halloween, y'all.
Yay.
Happy spooky season. Stay safe. Stay spooky.
Check your kids' candy. If you have kids or if you're trick or treating with like a young family member, check candy. People are messed up.
hmm Also, if it says take one, be an honest person, okay?
Yeah. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, don't take it all. I don't think it's not a very nice thing to take the whole bowl and pour it into your bag, okay?
No, it's not. Also, you're not gonna eat all that. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you could eat all that, should you eat all that? Do you really want cavities?
Well, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Like Rihanna said, we hope you enjoyed the story. Let us know if you have any favorites. Let us know if you have any you want to share with us. Tell us any ghost stories you have, any personal paranormal experiences you've had, any and all thoughts, Halloween plans, Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
We're here for it all.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Well, if you guys like this episode and want to stay connected with us, check out our website in the description. It contains links to our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. Follow us for more behind the scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.